Hello, and welcome back to our podcast. I'm the Disturbed Southern Belle.
And I'm the gentleman.
So we're going to be picking up again and continuing on talking about some more of the most haunted places in the U.S. There's several. These are all going to be our M states. We're kind of stuck in the M's right now. So we're going to start off with Michigan and the Big Bay Point Lighthouse.
I think I've actually heard about this one.
So this one, I mean, it's supposedly haunted, but I mean, it's kind of sad in a way too. But so this lighthouse is situated close to Big Bay, Michigan, and it's currently operated as a bed and breakfast, which is kind of cool. You know, it's an old lighthouse. It'd be kind of neat, you know, to see, you know, if they kept it looking like it did, of course. So the Lighthouse Board received a recommendation for the establishment of the lighthouse in 1882, which included the following statement. The point is positioned halfway between Granite Island and Huron Islands with a distance of 15 to 18 miles in either direction. These two lights cannot be seen from one another, and the area in between is not illuminated. A light and fog signal or foghorn system, if you're wondering what a fog signal is, would provide safety for steamers navigating these waters. Over the years, numerous vessels have been wrecked at the Big Bay Point. So at that time, there was like this huge point where there was nothing and it was really dark. And of course, there were a lot of ships at that time because this was like in the 1800s, of course. So yeah. So they commissioned whatever and they built it. So they built this brick signal building that measured 20 by 15 feet. Now, this signal building is where they put in the fog system, as we'll call it. So basically, they put in these two 10-inch train whistles that protruded from the roof, and they were powered by steam boilers.
Yep, this is the one I was thinking about.
So that's how it was initially. Now,
and it just sounds like it looks really weird, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah, and I guess that's probably how a lot of them were used back then. But then in 1928, they were replaced with the modern airphone, which looks more like what we see as a foghorn. Mm-hmm. And when you think of a foghorn, what it traditionally looks like, kind of like a megaphone or what, you know, sort of ish. But anyway, so, and it's basically, you know, similar to what we consider, like I said, a traditional foghorn. So there were also these two brick outhouses beside it, along with a brick structure that had a metal roof and a door for storing oil for the lenses. Now, this was the fog system, and it kept out, you know, it had lots of little outhouses and stuff around it, and blah, blah, blah. So, on October 20th, 1896, the third order fixed Fresnel lens was put into operation. And this is a type of composite compact lens that minimized the amount of material needed for production compared to a standard lens by segmenting the lens into a series of concentric annular sections. So it kind of looks like little diamond-shaped things on it, or sort of. I mean, I guess it's the easiest way to describe it. Kind of what you would sort of think it would look like. You know, it has different things, so it will reflect the light differently. So the lens was equipped with a 3-wick burner similar to that of a second-order light, and it utilized the same amount of quantity of oil. But nevertheless, it featured partially shielded rotating panels designed to enhance the steady white light, and it was said to produce a brilliant white flash every 20 seconds. So, yeah. Now, this is slightly comical, but the lens that they used was promoted as being technological diamonds and was claimed to exemplify superior mathematical dimensions and remarkable beauty. So, I mean, they're really going all out on that thing, describing it. But, I mean, it is pretty. I mean, just looking at it for what it is, sure. It's
There's
actually
also
really
the
pretty.
Thing where diamonds were considered to be the symbol of beauty for the
Right,
time.
of course. So, yeah. I mean, and glass would look similar to a diamond. I mean, in the right, capacity. So, on the lower level of the tower, there was an office that could only be accessed from the headkeeper's side. So they had like these houses on either side of it or whatever. So each residence comprised 6 rooms, which included a kitchen, parlor, and dining room on the first floor, and the second floor contained 3 bedrooms. So, I mean, they were pretty good sized little, rooms or houses for that time. So each side had a basement cistern to gather water from the roof eaves, along with a pump in the kitchen that drew water from the cistern for kitchen use, which like washing dishes and things like that. But they found paint contamination in the cistern, and the water was subsequently had to be collected from the nearby Lake Superior, in 5-gallon buckets. So, yay, what fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
5-gallon buckets of water in freezing weather, probably sometimes, and chipping off ice and all that. So, yeah,
Nothing
great
more
fun.
fun.
So the keeper The main head house, his house featured 18 rooms within a 2-story brick structure, which measured 52 feet by 52 feet, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
So the adjoining tower elevates to light 105 feet above Lake Superior. So, I mean, this thing's up in the air, the actual lighthouse part. So initially, the head keeper and his assistant, along with their families, resided there in this house. But subsequently, a second frame building, an outhouse, and things were constructed for an assistant. The wife of the keepers lived there with them. So they usually lived there with their families. So they had their wife and kids there. And the wife of the head keeper and his assistant, the wives, I should say, they would handle, the household chores. They prepared the meals, and they would also educate the children at home. So that was, something that was done a lot back then too, because especially out where you couldn't get somewhere easily, and you couldn't there. So a significant death that was linked to the lighthouse is that of William Pryor, and he was the first lighthouse keeper at the Big Bay Point. He's said to have red hair, which is supposed to come up later, as you're going to see this red-haired apparition everywhere. He was said to be devastated by the passing of his son Edward, who succumbed to a leg injury. Now, I don't know exactly what happened, but I mean, back then it could have been a broken leg, infection.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been a lot of really things that wouldn't have been that serious.
Of things that are common today were very lethal back then.
Could have been. So,
and unfortunately, no less common.
Exactly. So, following his son's death, he disappeared in 1901, and his body was not discovered for nearly a year and a half.
That's a while.
Now, what's sad about it is his remains were found hanging from a tree only about a mile from the lighthouse. So that's kind of sad, that no one found him for that long, So, but anyway, to this day, it's reported that a red-haired ghost is often seen in mirrors, and there are frequent accounts of doors slamming in the middle of the night. So that is kind of sad. And he's supposed to be the one that's supposed to be haunting there. So I guess, I don't know if he's the only one that's there, but he's the one you see. But it's kind of a sad story. Well, most of them are, but still.
Most ghost stories are sad stories.
You're right.
Kind of goes with the territory.
Exactly. Now, this one, of course, is an orphanage, so, of course, it's going to be beautiful, because they always are. Now, this one is called the Old City Orphanage, and it's in Marquette. It was constructed in 1915, and it was originally called the Holy Cross Orphanage, and it was subsequently left vacant in the mid-1960s. So, this orphanage was operated by the Catholic Church, and those who were there recounted some pretty terrifying experiences. So it wasn't a nice place to be. Let's just put it that way. So the nuns were reported to have been physically and mentally abusive to the children under their care, which was common, sadly. It is.
And really still
is. It is. It's sad, but it's very true. They were said to be very fierce in their punishments. And one account was telling of this little girl who I don't know if she was left outside, went outside, and a blizzard came up while she was outside playing. And she got caught out in it. So she catches pneumonia, and she dies several days later. Now, this is where it kind of gets sickening. It was said that the girl's body that was then put on display for the other children to see as a warning and testament of the girl's foolishness.
That's
sad.
Awful.
Very sad if that happened. And now it's said that if you pass by the building on a quiet night, you can still hear the crying of the children from within. That's awful.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say, because that's just awful. Just the thought of what probably went on in that place and some of these places it's heart-rending. But yeah, that one is another one that's really sad. Next, we're going to go to talk about Minnesota and First Avenue. Now, this was originally a Greyhound depot. Now it's kind of like a music venue, and they have like concerts and dance different things like that there. It has a tragic legend associated with it, and it recounts the story of a young woman who, we'll say, unalives herself in the bus station bathroom after her lover, a World War II soldier, didn't return home from war. So, don't know what happened to him, probably lost in action, probably can assume what happened, but, who knows. Employees have reported hearing screams and cries emanating from the fifth stall in the restroom, which is where she was supposed to have done her deed, so to speak. And some have claimed to witness a full-body apparition with a noose around its neck that warns them against entering the bathroom with the lights off.
Well, that's creepy.
That is very creepy. And this is also, I don't know, this is slightly comical, but I guess whatever. So DJs and concert attendees have stated that they've even seen the woman dancing among the crowd and up in the balcony and stuff, dancing around with other spectators. So apparently she's living a good life. I don't know.
Well, a good afterlife.
There you go. So I guess she's fine. I don't know if she has the noose around her neck then. I don't know, but there you go.
I mean, it would make sense for both her not to and her to have.
So there you go. I don't know how they know it's her. I don't know if she's dressed different. I don't know. But anyway, next is the Inger Tower in Duluth. Now, this watchtower, which is 82 years old, is situated in Inger Park in Duluth, Minnesota. And although the tower is a beautiful local landmark, it carries a poignant history. So what was supposed to happen here is in 1948, it was reported that this unknown man fell from the 80-foot tower, and of course you can imagine what happened. So since that incident, visitors now claim that they see a mysterious figure moving by the windows of the 5th floor of the tower, and when they go inside, the figure cannot be found. Dun, dun, dun.
Creepy.
Yeah, so they don't know who he is, which I don't know. I always find the unidentified people a little sadder in a way because, that makes me think that maybe somebody's looking for them. Doesn't, one of these missing person cases and nobody ever knows what happened. I don't know. It's kind of sad. Next is Missouri and the Missouri State Penitentiary in Jefferson City. Now, this one is known for being one of the most haunted places in America. And it opened its doors in 1836 and has been the setting for a history filled with violence, sorrow, and death. Of course, it is a prison, but still.
Yeah.
You come on. So in 1967, Time magazine referred to it as the bloodiest 47 acres in America because of the extraordinarily high number of serious assaults that occurred there between 1963 and 1964. So good God, 1 year. Mm-hmm. And they're calling it the bloodiest 47 acres in America.
That is impressive and very disturbing.
It is. So the prison is filled with stories of riots, executions that even some botched and things like that. Accounts of those who will say met an early demise by the hands of others while they were there, so to speak. And that was supposed to be possibly police officers and other convicts involved, possibly, but who knows? So there's been numerous paranormal investigations that have taken place there, and many eyewitnesses have reported experiences of hauntings. There are claims of these ghostly figures wandering the corridors, and then you hear all these disembodied voices resonating from the vacant cell blocks. So yeah, that sounds like a fun place to go.
Oh yeah.
Actually, it might be, just to go to see it, but yeah, it sounds crazy.
Like a really fun place to spend the night.
Really, it sounds like a good place for a horror game setting.
Or one of those weird, almost intentionally crappy ghost hunting shows.
There you go. Yeah. So the next place is called Knob Noster. And it's a little town that's situated close to the Whiteman Air Force Base. Now, this one is a little weird. It's just got a weird legend that's around it. So it's known for this, we'll just say chilling legend because it's kind of creepy. So it's said that there was once this hermit that resided on the hill just outside of town, and he chose to stay away from others as much as he could. So he didn't like coming into town, didn't like being around other people, whatever. Now, he was said to have this slave, which, back then would not have been uncommon, sadly, but, that he would send into town, to buy necessities and handle any business they had to take care of in town. So he never went to town. He always sent his slave or this young man that he had. So the young man was reportedly well-liked in town and was very friendly, so when he suddenly stopped coming to town, people quickly became concerned.
As makes sense.
Now, this was only amplified when the old hermit was suddenly seen in town running his own errands.
Oh.
So, yeah, even creepier. Now, of course, some of the townspeople decided they were going to take it upon themselves to ask him about what happened to the young man. But he's said to have only scowled at them and then storm off, which doesn't look suspicious at all.
Oh, no.
I mean, no. So, of course, his actions then fueled rumors that he had killed the young man. Now, as far as I know, this was never proven. They never found I don't know what happened to this man. I don't know what happened to him. All I know is what happened to the hermit. So, a few days later, there was said to have been this, really bad storm, I don't know, terrible storm. And witnesses claim that they saw this lantern moving up the hill nearby, like bobbing up and down. And then just then, lightning strikes. So the following day, they go up there, and the hermit is supposed to have been found laying there, like dead, and his face is frozen in terror. And to this day, people still claim to see a lantern bobbing up and down the hillside on stormy nights.
Huh.
So, don't know.
That's just strange.
So, I don't know if it was supposed to be the ghost of the man he killed, or if he saw, I don't know. But anyway, that one is odd, definitely. The next is the Jesse James Farm in Kearney.
Okay, this one I've definitely heard about.
Now, I know probably most people don't know Jesse or Frank James. Now, they're just not known people, but we're going to talk about them anyway.
They're definitely not two of the most well-known people
outlaws
in American history.
World. But anyway. So, this farm, of course, was once belonged to the renowned James brothers, Frank and Jesse, and it's now accessible for public tours, allowing visitors to discover how the brothers grew up there and listen to stories like about how Jesse was once beaten there and nearly hanged by Union soldiers while he was searching for Frank. And additionally, about how like their half-brother was killed on the premises by a bomb that was thrown by guards that were looking for Frank and Jesse. So there's a lot of crap went on down here, you know. At this farm rather. So after his death, initially Jesse was buried on the farm, and his mother would charge visitors for the opportunity to visit his grave or to take a few pebbles from the gravesite. Which is, a little weird to me, but, you know, whatever. So, eventually, his remains, of course, were relocated to the Mount Olive Cemetery. Now, today, people claim that you can hear, like, horse hooves, like walking, running around, people riding around on horses, gunshots, disembodied voices, whispers coming from all over the farm. So, it's just all kinds of stuff, all kinds of action happening all the time. So, apparently, they've still visit there. Now, I don't know if it's Jesse, Frank, or I don't know. But anyway. That one, actually, I wouldn't mind to go to. It actually would kind of be cool in a way, just to see where they lived. Next is Montana and the Bear Canyon Campground in Bozeman. Now, this is a stunning and picturesque location that's perfect for camping and outdoor activities. But as you can imagine, there's also a dark tale associated with the region. Now, this one is actually a little weird. Some of the actual stories, some of them are a little strange. But anyway. The area's eerie past is believed to date back to the late 1800s when the canyon thrived because of the copper sawmill. And its popularity increased further with the addition of a downhill ski area around 1941. So, I mean, they've got skiing there, they've got camping, so they got a lot of stuff going on. So, yeah, it's a very popular area. So, while camping or skiing close to Bear Lake, numerous individuals have claimed to encounter the spirit of a young girl dressed in white. Okay, so
another lady in white.
There you go. Now, this is a little girl, though. Like, from what I've read, I would say she's maybe around 7 to 9, so pretty young.
Little lady in white.
Right, so yeah. Now, that alone may not seem too frightening, you know, just to see a little girl in white, but the ghost's real motives are believed to be far more malevolent. Now, it's said that the child's spirit appears, and she's especially drawn to women, and she tries to entice women away from the path, resulting in them getting lost in the forest. So basically, she comes out, acts like she's wanting help or something, and she gets them to follow her. And those who have followed her report that she led them into a remote area before vanishing. Now, that kind of raises questions of what she's doing. I don't know. I don't know if she's trying to lead them out there for something to happen to them, or if she thinks she's helping them. I don't know. Or she maybe she's wanting them to perish out there and their spirit to join her. I don't know. But anyway. Some individuals have claimed to hear the girl even calling them by their name, which I think is freaky.
That's very freaky.
And then other people say they hear the scent of like cigar smoke when even there's no one smoking in the vicinity. Others have mentioned observing like this unusual mist hanging over Bear Canyon Road. One camper recounted receiving a phone call from an unfamiliar number, and upon answering, they could only hear static on the line, which is particularly strange given that the area is recognized for lacking cell service.
That's really weird.
Yeah, you're like not supposed to have any real cell service up there, and yeah. Now, that might be why, you know, they heard static. Maybe they just got a fluky little half signal or something, but I don't know who was calling them. So they said they didn't recognize the number, and it's just weird. Lastly, we are going to talk about Bannock, Montana. Now, this was once a town known for its shootouts and the execution of outlaws. and is now transformed into a sought-after destination for ghost walks and tours. So this one has just had a lot of just weird crap that's happened there. So we're going to talk about some of the most notable people, and these people are said to still roam around. So the first, now this one is a little weird, is Henry Plummer, and he was a well-known sheriff and outlaw.
Now that's interesting.
Exactly. Whose gang instilled fear in the region for nearly a year.
So an outlaw sheriff.
An outlaw
You
sheriff.
don't hear many about them. Usually they're crooked sheriffs, not just flat out outlaws.
Apparently he took it the whole 9 yards there. And
good for him.
Right. I guess. But ultimately he was, we'll say, sent to the gallows alongside 21 other bandits by the Vigilance Committee. So they had a heck of a day there. 22 people all sent to the gallows there. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay, so next is Dorothy Dunn. So in 1916, a 16-year-old girl named Dorothy Dunn reportedly drowned in a local pond after inadvertently stepping off a ledge into a deep water. So from what I was getting, when I got out of it, like she was kind of waiting, I guess, and she just accidentally stepped off and it just dropped off. There was nothing, and she fell, into the deep water, which, can happen at any time if you're not careful. So there are claims now that she haunts the Hotel Mead, which was managed by her best friend Bertie's parents during that period. So she's supposed to be walking around in there. And I don't know if she's dressed in white. I never saw, so.
We already got a little lady in white.
And there we go. So we got the little lady in white this time. So the next one is his name is Kingsley Olds. Which, what a name, right?
Yeah.
So, after being found guilty of killing Lula and Myrtle Goswick, he stated that the spirits of the girls came to visit him in his jail cell while he was in the town. So, boo-hoo for him. And sadly, he was subsequently shot and killed by an unidentified gunman.
Huh.
So, yeah, if he just killed 2 little girls, screw him. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't really care.
Yeah, no, he deserved that 100%.
I mean, you just don't go out just killing people. I'm sorry.
Much less children.
Exactly. So, Bannock is currently designated as a National Historic Landmark, and it's recognized as one of Montana's most well-preserved ghost towns, which is very cool. I wouldn't mind going here because it's situated within the Bannock State Park, which is an authentic ghost town rather than a replica or tourist site, which is very cool.
Oh, yeah.
And the state maintains the town in a meticulously preserved state of decay, allowing visitors to experience what life was truly like during its peak. So that would be super cool.
That's really interesting. I would love to see that.
I would too. That would actually be really neat to go see. Well, a lot of these places would actually be really neat to go see just for the history and just see what it was like back then.
Like that lighthouse.
Exactly. It'd even go there as a bed and breakfast. It would actually be really cool just to see, especially if they had like the antiques and stuff from back then. I mean, just to see what it was like. But anyway, we hope you enjoyed some more of the more haunted places in the U.S. and getting some plans to go visit some, because I know I am. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but we got to do some of them. But anyway, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, and don't forget to stay disturbed.